Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day and that you're all doing well. The title of this video is How to Write a Book in 24 Hours. And I will explain to you why I have this title and why it makes tons of sense. So, years ago, I started an experiment because of someone else who I saw on YouTube, and it worked out pretty well. So, before we get into anything, I need you to understand, I'm going to be as honest with you as possible. And that's kind of how this channel works. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to tell you how to make money, to help you make money, and to let you understand how there are many ridiculous ways you can accumulate money in the oddest of ways. Years ago, sorry for screaming. I feel like I screamed. Did I scream? I don't know if I screamed. Years ago, I was watching a video on YouTube. It was titled very similar. It was like, how I wrote a book in 24 hours. How I did something in 24 hours. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. You can't write a book in 24 hours. The video, can't remember that guy's channel's name. I haven't seen him in a while. I assume he doesn't have a channel anymore. The point is, his video was about how he had spent years writing a book. And at the end of him writing this book, it was around a good 3-something year period. He decided to go to a bunch of manufacturers, or what's the word? Publishers, manufacturers. And here's my book. And they all said, thank you, but no thank you. Over and over and over. He said, he got to the point where he realized, I've been doing this for years. I've been writing this one book that he assumed or maybe thought or was hoping would become a bestseller. Gave it to all these publishers. His life force went into it and they all said no. So he went home. He said he was relatively angry. I don't remember the entirety of, every tidbit of the story. But he said he went home, got frustrated, started writing anything he could, anything that came to his mind. He looked at the clock, realized it was super late, went to bed, woke up, fast forward. He realized that he had written tons of pages and was like, you know what? I'm going to publish this. Put it onto, I believe it was Amazon. I think it was Amazon. Like their Kindle publishing feature. And I think he said after a couple of days, he actually started selling copies. And the really weird part was he kind of realized this thing I worked on for 3 years sold nothing. This thing I wrote in an angry mess started selling tons of copies. And I think he said he waited a month, give or take somewhere around there, and kept on watching this other book sell and was like, fine. I'm going to do it. That's where quantity over quality comes in. Once again, I told this story to someone years ago. It was about 2 or 3 years ago. You meet people, you talk about life, what do you do, how things work. And I told this story to someone about like how I got into it, and they were almost mortified as if it was a really weird thing that I was doing. You have to understand something when it comes to the idea of consumerism, when it comes to the idea of consumption, when it comes to the idea of capitalism. People will buy and accumulate crap and things that they don't need all the time. I've been there. You've been there. It could be something as far as going out to eat when we don't need to eat out, buying candy bars, buying new shoes. It's just how things kind of go. The idea behind it is, if you create enough of it, more people will have access to it, and therefore they'll continue to buy in mass. The same exact thing goes for, I know someone who works for a company. Here's a good industry secret. You know those apps that you play on your phone? Grab the banana, grab the apple, do this, do that. And the moment you're done with the level, there's an ad. And you sit there and you wait for the ad to be over. And then you click level 2. You play level 2, ad. Level 3, ad. We've all seen these apps before. They're everywhere. I know someone who works for one of these companies who creates these. And the entire point is, every person within the job, within the corporation, within the company, I think it was about 15, 20 people in his office, their job per week is to create around 3 of these. Because what happens is, if you push out enough of them, and you have hundreds and thousands, and you go through the app store, you go through the system, blah, 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 blah stores, usually like on Android devices, you come across them. They look cute, they look pretty, they have all these tons of colors. You can mix the fruits yourself. You can do so and so. This is a new version of the old game, and you start buying. And the thing is that you don't even have to buy these things. Is that they're simply touted as free, but the freeness comes from the fact that you have an ad. And the last I remember talking to this person, he said the company is now worth millions simply because of their ad revenue, and they hire more people to kind of continue cranking out these things. I told this to my best friend. He thought it was absolutely genius when we were talking about the actual quantity over quality. And it comes down to the fact that, like I said, I'm going to be honest with you, one of the easiest ways to make money is to simply keep pushing out things, if that kind of makes sense. And I'll give you even like another one. It comes to the same exact, if you want honesty, comes to the same exact thing with YouTube. You may notice that there are certain YouTubers who make a video a week compared to other people who make like a video a day. It's quantity. Not saying that my videos are crap, but you kind of... Anyway, the point being, I found a lot of success in this. And I thought it was a joke at first until I really tried it. So in the very beginning, I wasn't simply just like kind of just writing anything. I was writing things that really... How do I explain this? It's really weird talking to all of you. I think it's one thing to talk to a person about it, or to have like my friend here and we talk about it. But to kind of like give the secret away is a little weird. You pretty much just start creating whatever you can. So my first couple of books, I think the first 5 were on finance. I think I wrote a cookbook. I think there's things kind of that I knew. Eventually, you get to the point where you can kind of outsource all of this. I spoke before, for those of you who weren't here, about a website called Fiverr. Pretty much what you do is, I can't believe I'm telling you, it's kind of weird, because it's been in my head for all these years. What you do on Fiverr is you can hire people to do things for $5. There are also other websites, those you have to find yourself, where there are people who are willing to do activities for $2 to $3. So what you do is you hire someone and you say, hey, you got $5, do this. And they do it. And I've had books, I've had vegan books about vegetables, about apple pies, cakes, whatever, you name it, not just about food, written for me for $5. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, what? That doesn't make any kind of sense. How do you do that? So if you look at many other websites, not even just Amazon, what they require for you to actually have a book for people to buy, because once again, we're talking about ebooks. Keep this in mind, is that you don't have, the minimum amount required for, I think, an actual ebook is around, I think, 35 or something pages. Most cookbooks are 38,000 pages, as it were. So there's always like a level. So I usually tell people, make me a book that's 50 pages. You can even tell them sometimes, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, write whatever you want. Write about your life, write about your day. They proofread it, they're usually writers themselves. And then you end up having, so the idea is, the money that you make from selling books, you use that money to push it into getting other people to write you more books. As these books continue making money and these new books continue making money, you push that money into further until you get to the point where you have several hundred books. And those several hundred books are constantly selling. Usually when you get people to write for you, you tell them, hey, don't write garbage, just write something that, is kind of, The point is, back to what I was first saying, in a huge world of consumerism and consumption, people buy a lot of things. One of the greatest things that I learned over the last couple of years, and I want to say it's not even just pertaining to ebooks, people, for some reason, buy books without ever reading them. And I know a couple of people felt that tingle, or their ears are burning. A lot of people buy books ebooks and other things with the intention of reading them, but they never actually read them. So I think that this has caused a huge spike in the actual ebook space, while there are tons of ebook companies, and while there are other things kind of like this developing. So what ends up happening is, once again, trade secret. Everything I'm telling you, I probably should not be telling you in some sort of way. It's not fraudulent, it's just more so, it's just quantity over actual quality. Like, these aren't 500-page novels written by insert author name here. It's just random people writing books. They're legitimate books. You put them on, create a cover for them, and then at some point people buy them, and then more people keep buying them, and this is how you continue to make that money. So the guy who I was got this original idea from, he at this point was making, I want to say 3, 4, 5,000 per month passively from those books selling. And he was taking a huge portion of that money and swapping it back over into the actual industry. So I assume he's still doing fairly well, because this is also another question of, or rather the discussion of, passive income. You make something, you put it online. This is why I always advocate for people creating online businesses. And therefore, this continues making you money for the rest of your life. As long as Amazon is around, I'm going to keep making money from these books. The books that I've written, the books that other people have written, and also when you get people to write books for you, you usually let them know either you won't be credited in the actual publishing of this book, or sometimes you can even just credit them as well. Like is there a co-author? Did someone who wrote this? You can simply write their name. Yeah, kind of weird talking about all of this out loud. When I started doing it, it took me roughly anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to write a book. And I know that sounds insane. I have a very active imagination. I don't know if you've seen me from my flailing hands or anything else that's been going on. My mind is constantly in overdrive. So a lot of the first stuff I was writing, 50 to 70 page books, about random stuff. I have crazy dreams as well. Craziest dreams in the entire world. Maybe I'll make a video one day about how crazy my dreams are. I started like writing them down so I can remember them and tell all you my dreams. 50, 60, 70 page books. You put them on Amazon. And the really weird part is that eventually they start selling. I don't know if it's just curiosity. I don't know if it's just like people being like, oh, that looks and sounds weird. But I would just write really weird things that kind of came to my mind. Even sometimes if I was having a bad day. Just write about it. Write about how bad your day was, and then make that into a book. Like I said, I told you the video was going to be a bit weird, and here we are. I had to warn you from the get-go. In the very beginning, after I did a book a day for 30 days. It's not easy. This is why I started outsourcing it, because at a certain point, your brain is just completely fatigued. After 30 days, on average, per month, with a book a day, I was making around $25 per month. Which, if you've ever sold on Amazon, especially ebooks, is not bad at all. Simply for the fact that normally your commission that you get from a book, especially an ebook that's 99 cents, is around 35 cents, I think, per book. So on average, I was selling around 3 per day, to roughly equate to $1 across the entire board. But for me, this wasn't bad. And it's kind of like revved up as time has gone on. I've been doing this for a while now. It's one of the more unorthodox ways that I make money. But it's fascinating to see, like when you hear people say like, if you do it now, it'll pay off in the future. And I was like, okay, whatever. But to see that I'm still getting money from something that I did years ago, or that other people do for me by outsourcing, is it's almost otherworldly. And even more so if you think about it this way, for me, especially years ago, my entire, before I like heavily got into investing, was kind of this like, it wasn't like a survival thing. It was more like I was equating things like, okay, I spend X amount of money on groceries. If I can find a way to make passive income, to make this amount of money to cover my groceries every month, I'm good. I spend this month, I spend this much on my monthly metro ticket. If I can, and it kept on going like that until all my expenses were covered, and then it kind of tumbled into this you've seen me. You see my channel. You see how much it's grown. It's kind of just become that. So this is how I grew and developed. This took about a couple of years to really get into it. But I thought I'd share as much honesty as I possibly could with all of you. If this sounds interesting to you, how to do it, just start writing. And even more so, if you're an actual writer, first of all, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. If you're an actual writer, I know people who are incredible writers, but I think it's something that holds people back. I think even when it comes to investing as well, a lot of people think that they simply can't do it. They're not cut out for it. If you can already write, it doesn't matter what language, like any language you speak, especially obviously as we're talking in English, if you can write, why not? Why not even post other things that you've already written? If you have like a backlog of other things you've written over the course of a couple of years, dissertations, even stuff like that, put them on there and just see what happens. I have a couple of other friends who tried this, but it gets to the point where, once again, honesty, a lot of people kind of want it to be easy. They don't realize how much work it actually goes into building passive income streams. The good part is, once they're built, you're good. It's just about the initial first steps. You have to do this kind of, remember I said in the other video, like 5 years? If you really sat down for 5 years and did what you needed to do, you'd be fine. You'd be fine for the rest of your life. But the issue is it comes into the actual doing it. It's kind of the major thing. Yeah, I have a list here, but I went over most of it as I was rambling. One of my weirdest ways to make money, and also another part as well, which really helped out as well, is that there are free websites online. I don't have a list anywhere because there are hundreds of them where you can get your book promoted for free. Amazon, Kindle, ebook, whatever, has this section where for, I think, a 3-day period, 4-day period, you can make your book free, like actually free. And what it does is that you can use these other free websites. I think, yeah. And you can use these websites. They actually promote your book on their website for free as well. You have to comb through them. Sometimes they'll ask you for 20 euros. Sometimes all this other stuff. I don't use the give me money ones. And they'll actually have your book on their website as like, this is free today on Amazon. And it allows people to actually go read it. What this does for you is it's a legitimate way for your book to be free for a couple days. When it's free, people are able to actually read your book and then go give reviews on Amazon. It gives you a way to get real reviews on your actual book, and also causes other people to kind of, it's just this tumbling thing. Once again, yeah, it's quantity over quality. It is this method when it comes to investing that has helped me. I guess maybe even just this one path that I've kind of chosen. I still do it. It works out very well. It pays the bills, as it were. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something, but I can't think of what I'm possibly missing. If you feel like I've missed something, if you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. I feel like I'm missing. It's driving me crazy. Like, I feel like it's like one little thing that I'm missing. I think that's everything for now. But yeah, it definitely works out. If you have the time and the patience, the diligence, or just the insanity like I have, like I've realized that I sat there, like I did this for months. My first 30 days were strenuous, and then I sat there. At some point, I was waking up, and I was making a book after I woke up. And then around like 8 o'clock at night, I would do it until I like fell asleep. So I was writing 2 books a day essentially. And they sold and are still selling. And it's a fascinating world. I guess the last thing is, this goes into not what I wanted to say, but something else. It goes into what we were talking about before. Remember I said I saw a video years ago. I think this is why I'm really into like digital things. When it was talking about that over the next couple of years back then, that billions of extra people around the world would be able to have access to the internet in some sort of way. And they would use their new access to the internet to kind of buy things. It's true. I've seen my things that I've put online selling a lot better over the last couple of years. And I can only assume it's because a fraction of the new billion people who had access to the internet are all using my stuff now. Anyway, just thought I'd share that story. I thought I'd share another idea of another way to make money. It's very unorthodox. The idea of writing a book in 24 hours seems completely insane, but you can do it. It may not be the best thing. However, it's still a way to make money. Yeah. I hope you all enjoy. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching or listening if you're around the house doing something. And I'll most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.